Motorsports Madness, powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Jacob Seelman.
Jacob Seelman is nowhere in sight tonight. Jacob is actually at Daytona covering all of the events down there. So those of us here in the Race Chaser studios in Mooresville, North Carolina, will do our best to keep you up to date on everything that's happening in tonight's duels from Daytona, and also what's to come this weekend. My name is Tom Baker. I will be the proverbial bus driver for this evening. My co-hosts are Chris Murdock, who is normally behind the glass handling video capabilities. He's actually going to be doing that from the main studio here tonight. And Randy Miller is behind the glass handling audio production, and will be you'll hear his voice throughout the show as well. And we're going to be joined shortly by one of our favorite guests in studio here. It is one of the voices of Charlotte Motor Speedway and PRN's At The Track, Lenny Batycki, will be joining us as well as we get started. The first duel is about to get underway. Still doing some pre-race stuff, Chris. This is going to be an interesting night at Daytona. First of all, the weather forecast, absolutely perfect, mid-60s, no rain. We're going to get both of these races in just the way we would want to. The first duel, all you got to do is look at the first three cars, actually the first four cars, and you've got story after story after story. William Byron starting on the pole. He's got a new crew chief, Chad Knaus. Jimmy Johnson starting on the outside pole. Used to have Chad Knaus. Now he has Kevin Mendering. And then Daniel Hemrick starting third in his first ever Cup Series start at Daytona. And then Martin Truex Jr. starting fourth. He is the new driver of the Joe Gibbs 19, formerly known as the 78 of Furniture Row Racing, and now most of those guys over on the 19 team. So going to be interesting just looking at the top four, never mind the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race as pre-race is just getting ready to wrap up and drivers are getting ready to strap in their cars as we speak. I'm excited because that officially means we're back racing officially at Daytona,
no doubt. I mean, this is really an exciting evening. And so, again, this show does air live on Performance Motorsports Network and Spreaker and on the Race Chaser Facebook page on Thursday nights. So we will have a great show for you. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to unpack everything from Daytona after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Noah Gregson, and you're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Howdy, welcome back to Motorsports Madness, Race Chaser Radio, presenting Motorsports Madness once again. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined currently by Chris Murdock in the studio. Behind the glass is Randy Miller. You will hear both of their voices as we get started here. Lenny Batycki will join us momentarily from PRN's At The Track. And if you're watching the video, yes, he will be sitting to my left. And the first duel about to get underway, we highlighted just in the first four picks, Chris, the first four starters, we highlighted some of the stories there. And I honestly, as we start looking at picks for this duel, I'll let you go first, and then I'll go to Randy and come back with my pick. But who are you picking for this one?
Well, for this, I'm going rookie storyline, and I'm going to go with Matt Tifft.
Wow. Matt Tifft, all the way from 18th to 1st. Holy cow. You are way out on a limb. Okay, Randy Miller.
You know, I almost feel like, because this is like the race where they kind of, I guess they make the starting positions for the Daytona 500. I kind of feel like they're going to kind of play it safe. And since we've seen a lot, like in the Clash, we saw, single file, everybody staying in one line. I almost feel like William Byron, if he gets ahead at the beginning, he's just going to stay there because everybody's just going to play it safe and just try to make it into the race. So I'm going to pick William Byron.
I'm going to go with Byron as well. I think Byron, I actually picked William Byron to sweep this weekend, and I believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to pick him on Sunday as well for the 500. So William Byron to win the first duel. But there are, again, some, you look beyond the first four. You've got Brad Keselowski starting 5th. For Team Penske, and then you got Paul Menard, and we all know what happened last Sunday in the Clash.
What happened last Sunday
with Paul? He ended up not finishing the event. He had a little bit of a collision with Jimmy Johnson, and so Paul starting in 6th, wondering if he can get the win. You've got Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Tyler Reddick in a limited start for Richard Childress Racing. He's in the 31 Chevrolet, starting in 9th, and Ricky Stenhouse starting 10th for Roush Fenway. And, the duels are interesting. Picking Matt Tifft is you went way out on that limb, but
I try to be fun.
It is fun. And, the thing with Matt Tifft is a driver who's a bone stock rookie in Cup. He's never run a Cup race, to my knowledge, before. And he's making his first start for Front Row Motorsports. 18th is a long way to come, I think.
When I make the pick, Tom, I more look at speed that Ford has had.
Okay.
And he's in a Ford. And we know the Fords on super speedways race really, really well.
They do.
Now, whether Matt Tifft can handle it, because like you've said, he's never raced in a Cup race before,
right.
And Daytona is its own beast. So whether those rookie stripes are going to show tonight or not is another story, but I think Fords alone at super speedways handle really, really well.
They do. I would think that Matt would have a better chance if we had the new package that we're going to have when we come back here in July, because Matt's had experience with that in the Xfinity Series, which might give him a slight leg up. But for me, with this package, I'm not sure that I believe Matt could go from 18th to 1st. But again, you never know with these duels because just like any other race at Daytona, it's all about positioning. And
you look at what happened during the Clash, and when it took almost half the field out.
Yeah.
And you look at some people from the back who were just lucky enough to get on the brakes and stop and make it through it. And they finished higher than,
I feel like it's going to be interesting to see if the drivers just fan out, go single file like they did on Sunday for a while. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'd like to see some actual racing in these things.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that if that, I guess we're gonna see because we're going to just, here comes Lenny Batycki. If you're watching the video, Lenny is walking into the studio. He is fashionably late, but that's okay. When you are Lenny Batycki and you host PRNs at the track, you get the privilege of being fashionably late to another show.
Well, and I was working with another one of our sometimes hosts, Jacob Batycki, my son, and he's not well today. So had to be a dad a little bit there, and he'll recover.
Jacob Batycki, we hope you feel better, buddy. And if you missed it in the opening segment, Jacob Seelman, who normally sits alongside us at the table here, is actually in Daytona, and we're going to be hearing from two drivers later in the show, Harrison Burton and Myatt Snider. You're going to be hearing Jacob. He got some interviews with them earlier and sent us the audio, so we're going to hear from them later.
Snider's got just a plethora of different vehicles he's going to race this year. He's going sporty car racing, I heard, as well.
Well, I heard rumors of that, but I don't know all the details on that part of it. I do know that he's running a part-time schedule in the 27 truck Ford for Thorsport Racing. That was announced very late last week. The lineup for Thorsport this year for the truck season is going to be Johnny Sauter in the 13, and we're going to have Grant Enfinger in the 98, Ben Rhodes in the 99, which was formerly known as the 41, which was formerly known as the 27. And now, there'll be a quiz on this later. And Myatt Snider now driving the 27 truck, which is the truck. I think that'll be the team, basically, that Chase Briscoe had when he won the race on the dirt at Eldora last year. So it's going to be a part-time effort for Myatt in that truck. But, yeah, he's, I think Myatt is still finishing up college at UNC Charlotte, and he's got some other things going. So this works out good for him, I think, to be part-time this year. But with that being said, have you got a pick, Lenny, for this first duel before we get started? We got Byron, Johnson, Hemrick, Truex, Keselowski, Menard, Kyle Busch, Harvick, Reddick, and Stenhouse in the top 10.
Menard's just looked so good, last weekend. But I'll go Wilder. I'll go with Hemrick just because believe in him, believe in what they're doing with him, and if it doesn't turn out, I'll still be happy that I chose Daniel.
I think Daniel's a solid pick here because he's had the speed. And, he's got the starting position as well. So we'll have to see how that works out. Had some breaking news a little while ago before the show kicked off that I thought was really cool. And I know you'll enjoy talking about this for a minute or two, Lenny. Your infamous phrase, give him a holla, Kaz Gralla, in the news today. Signed a part-time schedule to drive the 21 Xfinity car for Richard Childress Racing this year.
Wonderful.
Yeah. First race will be at Texas. So, Lenny, I feel like Kaz is ready for that, and I think it's a great break for him to really be able to show what he can do.
Yeah, I do as well. I don't think he's found his perfect spot yet, and hopefully this will be it to where he can showcase what he has because he is a talented driver.
He is.
Won this race here at Daytona, or the truck race at Daytona. So he can do it. Let's find him that right, comfortable place where people believe in him, and I think he'll prosper.
And Tom, we talked about this earlier. I sort of compared this situation to what Ross Chastain had, last season.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
Chris hitting it out of the park.
It gives him an opportunity to show his true talents in a top-notch ride in the Xfinity Series.
I agree.
And it could lead to more if he proves it right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think he's in a good place to do that. As I said, he'll make his debut in a month or so at Texas Motor Speedway for that team.
Kaz is one of those drivers. He's not robotic. He'll talk to the fans. He'll get out there. He'll do the work. I think Ross Chastain pairing, that is just dead on.
Yeah, there's a very valid point there, and I think this is a great situation for Kaz too, because he had that experience with his own team last year and learned how to really deal with adversity and all of that. And I think he way exceeded expectations last year in the limited starts he had, and I think we'll probably still see his own team out there a few times this year. With that, more of Motorsports Madness presented by mycomputercareer.edu right after this.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Louis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Louis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm Brandon McReynolds, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
I love Metallica. Welcome back to Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness as we talk again, and we're focusing right now on Daytona because that's what's coming up this weekend, and looking at the first duel, which is about to get underway. And you had a quick little note that you wanted to throw in here that I think is a really cool stat.
Well,
Chris?
I realized it the other day, earlier this week, that this Daytona 500 will mark the first time in the Cup Series that the 8 and the 3 will be back on the track together since 2001.
That's an interesting stat. I hadn't thought about that until you mentioned it, but that's that's definitely worth noting. And Daniel Hemrick, for those of you who don't know Daniel's story, is from Kannapolis and grew up a junior fan. So Daniel racing the number 8 has a personal significance to him, and that's why they attached him to that number instead of running the 31.
This whole year for them is just so significant. It's so significant for the whole 50 years, like Lenny
for
just
RCR.
said. It's just a whole significant year for them. They kicked it off right last year with a Daytona 500 win for Austin on the 20th year mark. So this is they just keep building, and it's good to see that organization is prospering right now.
Yeah, it is. And, of course, we mentioned Tyler Reddick in the last segment starting 9th in the 31 car. Again, that car limited starts this year with Tyler behind the wheel. Daniel and Austin Dillon will be the 2 full-time drivers.
And we don't
Childress.
know any more races that Tyler's running.
Not right offhand. Yes. I don't expect it's going to be a large number of races from what I've heard, Lenny, but any experience in the Cup Series for him right now is good experience, obviously, and he's going to be running full-time in the Xfinity Series for Childress. That was announced after he won the title for Junior Motorsports last year. So in the Xfinity Series, moving over to Childress for 2019, which is really an interesting move for him. So we'll see if moving to Richard Childress can bring him a second championship before possibly a full-time step to the Cup Series next season.
Yeah, I could see him definitely making the step to the Cup Series because Childress will, tickety-tack him around the schedule, get him the experience where they want him and where the sponsorship works, and then prep for that next, Cup Series ride. But I think it's, as Chris was saying, the Childress organization starting to do some things really right and starting to realign where they're at. You've got Hemrick there now, Reddick in the wings there, sponsorships, in for most of the cars. Could be good times and welcome again.
Well, let's hope, because I think every organization right now is trying to build youth, right? I mean, you're looking for the next big thing, and I think Richard, having Daniel Hemrick, I would agree. I would think, in my opinion, Daniel is one of the next big things, and I think Tyler Reddick has the potential to be a next big thing. So 2 very young and talented drivers in the Childress stable right now, and of course Austin Dillon still plenty young in the 3 car too. So Richard's got a good lineup for many years to come if it all works out well.
And certainly I hope it does.
Yeah, and you've been around, obviously short track racing and all of that for a while, and you think about Reddick and where he came from out west running dirt. That's really where he built his stock and trade, and he had the long hair and just had that kind of persona going, and then he comes over to the East Coast and starts running pavement and does really well in K&N. I mean, Tyler's been, I would consider Tyler very patient and purposeful as he's kind of climbed the ranks. And I don't think anybody, I know I didn't expect him to go out and win a championship last year in Xfinity, but he went and did it. And, and now he's in a situation where he's on the verge of maybe a step up to Cup in 20, which I think it's very cool to see somebody from a dirt late model background that came over and made good. You don't see that too much. We've seen a lot with the sprint cars, but not so much with the late models and all of that. Tyler's kind of an exception there.
Yeah, I think, the world is waiting to see if Bobby Pierce will ever reappear.
Yeah.
Josh Richards was with Richard Childress Racing for about a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So, there have been those instances, but as you said, and correctly so, they haven't worked out. And I find it pretty interesting. We're talking about how Reddick's had kind of a slow, rise in the last, few years. But on the other side of the coin, last year's, Monster Energy Cup Series champion, Logano, was in some ways criticized for how fast he was brought up. So Reddick may be a throwback to what is perceived as more the correct way to season a driver each rung of the ladder before they get to the top.
Well, and I would agree with that because based on, I mean, Joey was brought up fast, I think, because Tony left.
Yeah, Tony left.
I was about to say, I think there was a need for it.
If you walk out, Chris is sitting there for a while.
It was the next man up, and but yeah, it was too fast. And Joey has openly admitted he wasn't really ready in all ways, and I think particularly mentally for the adjustment up to Cup when he made it. Reddick has been with several different organizations. He's been with Ganassi, he's been with Junior, and of course won the championship there. Now he's over at Childress, and so he comes in with a winning pedigree at almost every step he's taken. And so he's far more seasoned than I think a lot of people would probably give him credit for, which is why I'm saying I think he may be ready for this step to Cup and really in a position to help Daniel at Childress out a lot.
Well, and you say, Ganassi, Junior Motorsports, and then Childress, but nowadays it's more the manufacturer, and he never left Chevy.
Well, that's a good point. He came from Ford because he was with Brad Keselowski in the trucks with Daniel Hemrick.
Yes.
Which is, I think, maybe something that's been not kind of understated, that he and Hemrick are reuniting now. And I think they're both far more mature than they were when they were in the trucks, obviously. So,
and I think we'll start seeing this a lot more through the Chevy program, especially with their new Driver's Edge program. You can just move and shift people around where you need them to go as long as they're incorporated in that Driver's Edge development program. And I think they've really set the tone for that and grooming their drivers and bringing them up, because you see how well Chevy has kind of shifted, and I think a lot of people were pretty laxed on them last year because they had a rough start, switching bodies, getting the package. But I think with how they've come to Daytona and the presence that Chevy has had at Daytona this season, they're going at this, full throttle. They're wanting to knock this year out of the park, and I think this whole package might suit Chevy really well. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? The way, if you look at the sport, the way it's sort of changing, and you look at K&N, you look at ARCA, and you look at some of the series underneath, like the Super Cup Stock Car Series, which has been way under-respected, I would argue, for a number of years, has flown way under the radar. They've got a double out there in California called the California Challenge Cup Series, which is basically Super Cup West, though not an official tie-in. You're starting to see, I think, a trend toward more affordable racing as we get down to the levels. I think people are realizing that the balloon got too big. And so when I look at a driver, for example, like a Tyler Reddick or a Daniel Hemrick, I think it's going to be easier 2 or 3 years from now for some of those guys to come up through the ranks into NASCAR's National Series, because it won't cost them so much to go racing in a heavy stock car on either short tracks or even some of the intermediate mile tracks or whatever. I think that trend, Lenny, is going to be very good for the sport and very good for some of these young drivers that are trying to come up through the ranks that maybe don't have the millions of dollars that, others do.
I think every corner of the country you'll be looking for drivers, teams, sponsors, looking for how this is reinvented.
Yeah.
We're probably 8, 10, 12 months away from really having bigger news starting to come out about what's going to happen 2021 and such. I think the shuffling of the deck and then how we win the hand that's dealt to us at that point is going to be still up in the air for a while.
Well, yeah.
And when you're talking about how this conversation initially started with Richard Childress and Reddick and Hemrick, I think Richard Childress has hit a good nail bringing Hemrick and Reddick together, because you talked about Reddick's path. Hemrick's is a complete 180 from that, and he came from Charlotte, racing legend. So I think it's good to have that team that's diverse, that can bring so many different things to the table that will ultimately make your organization as a whole better.
Well, and Hemrick grew up poor. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he grew up poor. There was no money to go racing with. He got an opportunity to go racing based on, a friend of his that had a race car. And that's kind of how the whole thing started. And Daniel proved successful And as he started to climb, he won the Legends Million a bunch of years
and
back.
$1 million later.
Well, he got $250,000 out of that. But yeah, bought some rides in the modified, and then just started kind of working his tail off to take whatever was given to him until he made it. And it proves it can still happen, and I think it's going to get a little bit easier in the next few years with some of these series that are coming up now.
And you saying modified brought another driver who's in this duel to my attention that has kind of been groomed the same way and been brought up the same way, Ryan Preece.
Ryan Preece, yeah. Here's a guy who, again, didn't buy his way to the top. He had sponsorship on a limited basis, and he actually parlayed that into 2 opportunities with Joe Gibbs Racing 2 years ago, and then turned that into some more last year because of his success. And now he's in the 47 car for Tag Geschächter for Doherty, JTG Doherty. And I think that's really another point to be made, is that here's another driver who didn't get there on the basis of money. He just kept clawing, and he kept driving, and he kept winning. It can still happen in today's NASCAR. You just have to stand out. And with that, we are going to step aside. When we come back, more of Motorsports Madness. We're going to hear from both Harrison Burton and Myatt Snider a little later on in the program. More of the madness on Race Chaser Radio right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Well, Kaz Gralla bringing us back out of break, and we spoke of him earlier, mentioning that he's going to be making some starts for Richard Childress Racing on the Xfinity side in the 21 Chevy, beginning at Texas. It's not a full season schedule, just a number of starts, but great stuff.
And speaking of Richard Childress Racing, we just had the first round of pit stops wrap up in our duels. Currently, we're watching them live, and Tyler Reddick's rookie stripes were showing because he passed his pit box and had to reverse.
Oops.
All like about a quarter down pit road and then go in.
Oh, boy. Well, so Tyler having some issues, but, better you get him out of the way in the duel.
Yes.
than have them during the 500, right? It's interesting stuff. Tom Baker, Lenny Batycki, Chris Murdock, and Randy Miller over on the other side in the tech shed punching all the audio buttons correctly here tonight. And Randy also chiming in with us. We keep an eye on the duels and also start to look ahead to the weekend. And the truck race, of course, on Friday night will be the first of the big events. And we talked about Thorsport announcing their lineup very late in the going. We had a Truck Series practice earlier today, and it was kind of interesting through the first half hour or so to see some of the names that were up near the top of the chart. Norm Benning spending some time in the top 10, which is always fun to see, even though you're not expecting him to race there. But anytime Norm Benning is in the top 10 of anything, it's just great for, in my opinion, just great for the sport, Lenny.
Storman just brings another personality to the sport, and it livens things up. It's great to see him do well.
He's a throwback to the old days of the sport, and he's been around a long time and still loves it every bit as much as he used to.
Yeah, and when it comes to practice, Tom, there were a few things that really stood out to me. And one thing that really stood out to me, one was not necessarily on the same team, but in the same family, both manufacturer-based and literally.
Yep.
The pairing of Todd Gilliland and David Gilliland at Daytona is something to watch out for when that race starts tomorrow.
Well, and obviously not the first time. Well, it is actually the first time that that's happened. David ran last year, was actually driving the truck that Todd would later take over for Kyle Busch Motorsports, because Todd not yet old enough to compete on the super speedways. So David driving it at Daytona. So now father and son competing against each other, I think for the first time at Daytona, if I'm not mistaken, though they did a couple of times last year.
And it's fun for David because he's doing the same thing he did last year for his son, for Tyler Ankler, only at DGR.
Yeah, and Tyler in the same situation. He'll actually start at Martinsville a little bit later on in the spring, driving that particular truck, 17 truck. And just to look at the second practice of the day, Austin Hill, Christian Eckes, Todd Gilliland, David Gilliland, and Gus Dean, your top 5. And look at this. Tyler Dipple, 6th. Norm Benning, 7th quick. 87, Joe Nemechek, 8th quick. Chris Fontaine and Spencer Davis. And in case you missed this, Spencer Davis, a very late entrant into the Truck Series event in the renumbered truck 82. Spencer driving, I think, for Rhett Jones Racing, but they renumbered the truck 82 in honor of Danny Watts and Watts Racing, who Spencer ran for in the modifieds.
Look who's behind Spencer. Look at right behind him.
Angela Roush in the number 8 truck. That is the
that's some speed
team
for her
truck to Joe Nemechek, the Nemco truck. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. She would be sitting 11th after that second practice. Timothy Peters, Austin Self, Corey Roper, and Sheldon Creed in the top 15. If you're wondering where Myatt Snider is, 16th. And not sure where Harrison Burton is here. I think I missed him. Let me go back up and see if I can find him. No, I'm not seeing him. Oh, wow. He's way down there in 38th quick. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened there. 1 lap of practice for Burton. So not too sure what happened with him. But, again, that was from the second practice this afternoon. And, again, a new look for the Truck Series as well, because we've got we've got Tyler Dipple, I should say, along with Spencer Davis and, Gus Dean, all driving for Young's Motorsports in the Truck Series.
Handsome gentlemen, I'm sure, but there's also 3 ladies racing. Angela, Jennifer Jo, and Natalie.
Natalie Decker, 20th quick. Her debut at Daytona in a truck. She is, of course, driving also for DGR, and she is actually the 54 truck
and I think
for this weekend.
She could quite possibly be a sleeper in this truck.
She likes the speed of that place. She does drive well there.
So I think she could be a sleeper pick. You don't want to count that 54 truck out.
And if you're wondering who Angela Roush is used to be Angela Cope. So Derek Cope's niece. And so Angela making her first start in the Truck Series at Daytona, and again teaming with Joe Nemechek, In the Nemco trucks, we expected John Hunter to be behind the wheel of one of those trucks, but apparently Joe is taking over the reins of that truck to team with Angelo.
Well, Joe certainly knows how to get speed out of a super speedway, and the Cope family does have a Daytona 500 win.
Yes, and of course Austin Hill, again, musical chairs for him. He's driving for Hattori Racing this year.
Big deal there. Yes.
That is the championship truck from a year ago that Brett Moffitt ran to a championship. Brett, of course, with GMS Racing now, and he's going to have a good season, I think, with them. 23rd quick for Brett in the 24 truck in that second practice.
Another driver I'm really looking forward to watching here, guys, is a driver, we mentioned him a little bit earlier, Ross Chastain in that 45 truck at Daytona. I think it'll be interesting to see where he comes out at the end of this race.
Yeah, Ross is, again, that's a Nice Motorsports truck, Lenny. And what's interesting for me is that Ross is splitting time in that truck with Reed Wilson, who you and I know very well from the Legends cars, going on, well, actually all the way back to Bandolero cars. And, you know, this is the best opportunity Reed's ever had.
Yeah, he's certainly got his shot. I wish he had ran more, at least in the late models last year, to be more track ready, to be more, you know, involved.
Yeah.
And I think coming out of it, you know, cold, he needs to make as many laps as he can somewhere over this winter before he actually gets back bolted into the truck.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look to see when Reed's first start will be. It may be next week in Atlanta. I'm not sure. But Reed is definitely, I think, a driver with some potential. But as you said, he's run very limited starts in the truck series the last couple of years. Ran some for Young's Motorsports, and then last year for a couple different teams, I think. And so this, the best shot he's ever had in good equipment. Nice Motorsports now with a technical alliance with GMS. So, you know, these two trucks, the 45 and the 44, which Timothy Peters is racing this weekend, the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation 44, Timothy currently sitting at 12th quick after the second practice. And of course, again, these practice times, they mean something, but they don't mean a whole lot at Daytona because we all know that everybody does different things in practice there. And once you start racing and drafting, and, you know, it's all different. But certainly, again, it'll be interesting to see how the alliance with GMS helps Nice. And as Chris pointed out, Ross Chastain, by association, of course, helps that truck to get up closer to the top 5.
And let's not also forget Ross Chastain, one of the drivers pulling double duty, going from the truck to the Xfinity Series for Colleague this weekend.
Yes. Yeah, Ross running for Colleague Racing, and Ross is running a limited schedule for Colleague and most of the season for JD Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. And he's also going to be running in the Cup Series for Premium Motorsports in that series. And so Ross going to be kind of a yeoman, you know, this year. He's all over the place, journeyman, and getting as many starts as he can. We're still at least thinking that he's probably going to wind up perhaps in the number 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing in 2020 to replace Kurt Busch if indeed Kurt retires, Lenny, which, you know, after what happened with Ross and the whole debacle of DC Solar on the Xfinity side, which he was supposed to have a full season in that run for a championship, I think it would be great to see Ross end up in that car in 2020. I think he's more than ready.
Yeah, I think he's ready. I think this season of sitting back and probably knowing where you're going and being able to, you know, work with these other teams, if he uses this to build his toolbox of knowledge, he'll really be ready when we come back next year for the 500 in 2020. Chastain could be one of those drivers that is, as Chris likes to say, a sleeper.
Yes, and we're watching
Jimmy Johnson take out another car this weekend.
Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch getting together in Duel 1. It looked almost exactly like the situation in the Clash when Jimmy Johnson, except he wasn't pulling out to pass, he was pulling alongside Kyle Busch. And we watched the cars And, of course, the 31 up top.
And Jimmy Johnson moves
and
up.
Jimmy
and
just, I don't know. I don't know if Kyle broke loose first or Jimmy got into him first. But either way, there was contact and both cars onto pit road.
Kyle won't be as kind as Paul Menard was in his post-interview.
Well, again, I'm not sure we had the best angle of replay there.
And it's interesting to me.
Doesn't matter to Kyle, though.
You don't really see Jimmy Johnson, Mr. 7-time, make those kind of mistakes, if you will, or put himself into that position to make contact. And you can see him just move up the track there and hook him on that view.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see the other view again because it almost looked like Kyle might have gotten sideways before Jimmy got him. But, I mean, either way, it's kind of interesting. As I pointed out last Sunday, Lenny, or on Monday Night Show, I pointed out that, we have this sort of WWE mentality among a lot of the NASCAR fan base. They love you or they hate you, so you're a good guy or you're a heel. And I sort of felt like that first interview after that crash in the Clash last weekend, my first thought after watching Jimmy Johnson basically not apologize and just say, here to win races. It was almost like, oh my gosh, Jimmy turned heel.
Yeah.
It was like Jimmy's going to be a bad guy now. So, it kind of plays into the whole, NASCAR scripted and, all the tin hats and whatever. But so anyway, under caution in the first duel, and Kyle Busch, the worst of that. So we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. But back to what we were talking about, I think, when you look at some of these drivers like Ross Chastain, you just see the future of what NASCAR Cup Series racing is going to be. And I got to be honest, I'm pretty excited about it. There's so much doom and gloom out there about where NASCAR is. But, man, you get guys like Chastain up into the Cup Series. There's a guy who's not afraid to be aggressive. He's proved that. But he's a guy everybody likes. And I just think, we need more of Ross Chastain coming up through, and I think we're going to see that in the next couple of years. We got Hemrick there. Reddick's on the verge. Now you got Chastain in the wings. I think we've got a great new generation of racers that are really going to be entertaining to watch.
We just can't sanitize them. We can't sit them down and take their personality away from them. And, there are certain teams that like to just absolutely rip the guts out of a young person and then not have them come to where they were. They all of a sudden get the big ride, and now they're not them. We have to keep these personalities in these drivers so that the fans can be attracted to them, not to have them just be, these robotic types once they get to Cup.
And I think what we saw from Ross last year with Ganassi, we saw that he was able to show his personality more.
Yes, for sure. And we'll continue our talk about Chastain on the other side of this break. More with Motorsports Madness after this.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Chase Cabrey, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by two folks, fine folks, HMS Motorsport, the leaders of motorsport safety, and mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. And here's the deal. If you are looking for a career change, I've got an idea for you, because there are 2 million cybersecurity jobs unfilled right now in the USA. Here's how you can be a part of filling one of those positions. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the career evaluation test. If you decide that you want to pursue a career in IT, a career in cybersecurity, it's pretty simple, and you don't have to be great at math and science in order to do this. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Take the test, and if you decide you want to join the class, it's simple. Just get online. You can study online, or you can study at one of the 7 campuses that My Computer Career has around the country. And you don't have to do this on a daily basis. It's 2 to 3 times a week, and in as little as 4 months, you could be ready for your IT career. The good news is that My Computer Career also works with hundreds of employers to get you placed, and financial aid is available if you're eligible, including the GI Bill. We know the folks at My Computer Career. I've been to the Raleigh campus. I've seen what they do, and it is a fantastic way to, whether you're changing your career or whether maybe you're coming out of high school, or, you know, whatever your situation, you're looking for a first career, this is a great opportunity for you. So here again, mycomputercareer.edu. Take the free career evaluation test, and you could be an IT professional in as little as just 4 months. It is a great opportunity.
And I think My Computer Career is so cool, because you start seeing people from Microsoft and Cisco. They went through that whole same thing.
Yep.
And they're working with some of the lead technology companies, just coming from that little IT professional.
Yeah.
My Computer Career does a lot of great work, and it shows, and you might not even notice.
Yeah, I talked to one of their students last week, actually, and had just graduated and really is excited about the opportunity that he's got now. So mycomputercareer.edu, and with that, we step aside. When we come back, more motorsports conversation. We're going to hear from Harrison Burton. We're going to hear from Myatt, Snider, and much more with NASCAR Daytona right after this.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be, with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruise and tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver William Byron. You're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by mycomputercareer.edu and HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. And we're also going to talk about Strutmasters in a little while, because we're going to talk some NHRA. They had their opening salvo at Pomona this past weekend, and a huge streak was snapped. We'll tell you about that in just a little while, but we've got a couple of minutes in this segment, and just a quick update on the duels. Good to see some different names up near the front. We watched Ryan Newman drive up into the top 5 with the 6 car in his racing debut in that car. We've also watched Chris Buescher race toward the top 5. You got Ryan Preece, Matt DiBenedetto, just some of the names, Bubba Wallace, that have spent some time in the top 10, as we've got 20 to go. Right now it's Harvick, Stenhouse, Menard, Truex, and Buescher in the top 5. Matt DiBurrito up to P6 in his first time in the 95 car, which is, I think, an interesting pairing, Lenny.
I think, the atmosphere is right over there for him. He's right for the atmosphere. We'll see how it comes along.
Well, I think, Chris, he's got an opportunity this year, and you and I have talked about this with the new package. I think you're going to see, at least early in the season, some new guys have a shot at this. It's going to close the gap a little bit, and Matt might be a driver that would be primed to take advantage of that.
That's what I'm thinking, and also sort of a person like Paul Menard, who is just starting to find his way into the Ford, because he had been racing a Chevy at RCR.
Yeah.
So now he's in a Ford. He's in a new manufacturer. Now they just switched bodies, so now they're in the Mustang. So now it'll be interesting to see with this new package what he can do with that. So far at Daytona, in the new body and in the Ford, he's really stepped up, and he showed that he can control that draft up until, what happened with Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
But, you talk about new faces, but I'm also looking at new faces in new places, Truex and Cole Pern.
Well, yeah, and Truex is a given that he's going to be a challenger for sure, championship contender. When we come back, we're going to hear from Harrison Burton. We're going to hear from Myatt Snider as we talk trucks on Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness right around the turn.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication, but it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
We love trombones around here. Welcome back to the Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness. Tom Baker, along with Lenny Batycki, Chris Murdock, and, of course, Randy Miller behind the glass. Jacob Seelman was actually, or is actually, at Daytona for this weekend, and he's doing a mix of things down there, doing his regular job for Speed Sport, and also doing some things for us, and he was able to get some audio at NASCAR's Media Day, which was actually held on Wednesday of this week. And the first piece of audio that he got was with Harrison Burton, who, of course, is now full-time in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series in the Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota Tundra number 18 that Noah Gragson raced last year. And Jacob had a chance to catch up with Harrison Burton. Randy, let's hit the button and hear from him.
See Harrison Burton's still smiling. I think that whole arc of winning at Daytona thing, that kind of keeps you in a good mood for a few days. Has it soaked in finally after you answered the 300 texts and got a chance? I'm sure you've probably already picked out where you're going to put the trophy?
Yeah, I want to put it in my dad has a shop, and I want to put it in there. That's where I do all my race film and preparation stuff up there, and that's a good place to put it, I think. But it was cool. It was a really unique experience to come out and learn in the middle of the race kind of how to do everything, and then finally get good enough at it to win was really fun. And I lost my voice for a while there. I just got my voice back about 2 days ago, and just man, it was cool. It was a feeling that is really hard to replicate, winning a race, and then let alone winning a race at Daytona, for sure.
I was going to say, your dad won here, your uncle won here, now you've won here, so the family legacy at this track lives on. And I know, like you said, it's hard to win here, but it's also extremely gratifying to win here.
For sure, yeah, it's cool. You look back at the history that my family has here, and not only my family, just the sport as a whole is crazy, man. The amount of stories that are here, the amount of people that have won here that are in the Hall of Fame or should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's just crazy, the amount of just history. Like, as a racer, when you walk in here, you get chills, you know, for the first time. So this place definitely has a really high place up on just my favorite tracks, just alone on that, just walking into the place and knowing that what's been here and what's happened here. And it's not always been good stuff, you know. There's been bad days here and good days here, and that all makes it what it is.
Does it take, you know, I don't want to call it say there was pressure on your shoulders necessarily coming into this, but does it relieve some of that intensity, maybe, knowing that, hey, we've won here, so at least I know how to do it?
No. The truck race is crazy, and the ARCA race is crazy too, but you know, the odds of winning 2 in a row at Daytona are slim, and I'm here to defy the odds and do that, but it's hard to do. So in my mind, I'm just going back to square one. You can't really treat it any differently. You got to come here and prepare and have yourself and your team ready to go and go to work, because it takes so many little things to win here, and it all adds up. My crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., always says you find enough breadcrumbs and then sure enough you'll have a whole loaf of bread. So we're just working on getting all the breadcrumbs together now and getting it all together.
Does having Hillman give you some level of comfort knowing that there's a bit of chemistry already there?
Yeah, for sure. You know, me and Hillman have grown really close over the past few races, and last year we had a good 9-race schedule together and had the last 4 races together, and it's all the same guys are on this team as were at the end of the year last year, so we all get along really well and have a good time. I think we have the most fun in the truck garage, but we also work the hardest in the truck garage, so it's a great combination, and I love it, man. I love having this team, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
You ready to see how much fun you can have, hopefully early in the season, by winning a good bit?
Yeah, I am, man. I've been putting in a lot of work and on myself and getting my mind and my body right and getting ready to go. It's a grueling season, especially when you're not just racing the trucks. I have so many different things going on between, you know, other race cars and school and, you know, trying to have somewhat of a social life and all that. So it's a grind, but that's what makes it so gratifying in the end, is all the hard work paying off and getting a win.
You know, when you listen to Harrison Burton talk, Lenny, first of all, he's as humble as the day is long. And, of course, for those who don't know, he is the son of Jeff Burton. Humble as the day is long, he is full of talent. And he just is so adaptable. It seems like, you know, he absorbs everything so quickly, and we've watched him since quarter midgets, and he's just one of these racers that, yeah, he's second generation, and if there was ever, you know, a case to be made for, you know, passing the talent down, Jeff certainly passed it to Harrison, but what a quality young man he is.
Quality young man. His mom has been there as well.
Yep.
Kim does a phenomenal job, and if you're not following her on social media, you're missing out, especially when Harrison's on the track, because she sets the bar for a lot of them out there that try to keep laps going and such. As crazy as it is, she really does a good job there. But, you know, Harrison, when he ran quarter midgets and legends and such, that it was just kind of quiet. He did what he did and then went on.
Yeah.
But as he came up to full late models, went down, and I got to experience a lot of him at Gresham, running with Bubba Pollard and having Freddie Query as his crew chief. So when you're getting that kind of seasoning in the grassroots and in the short track world, and then you get to go home or even just the drive home with your dad. Wow.
Well, and Query has won about 400 races in his career, you know, and is one of the preeminent short track setup men in the country. And, you know, Query is a guy, if he's a crew chief, you know you're going fast. And Harrison certainly has had the benefit of that. The interesting thing about Harrison is when he first got to late models, I remember the first time Jacob and I interviewed him, he hardly talked. He was very shy and very quiet. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like about a year later, we went back and was like, who are you and what'd you do with Harrison? He'd figured it out. And then, of course, one of the highlights of last weekend's ARCA race was the Kim Cam. They kept showing his mom on top, you know, of the box, and she was just going nuts cheering him on to the win. So the Kim Cam was alive and well at the ARCA race. And you're right, Kim Burton is a lot of fun to follow on social media. And I think this is a young man to watch this year in the Truck Series. I firmly believe he wins multiple races, gets himself into the playoffs, and runs for a championship.
That is exactly what I expect from him, especially with the ride he's got over at KBM. It's almost he's got the ride, he's just got to put in the work. And I do want to apologize to the video viewers if it looks like I'm staring off into space. The duels have hit 5 to go.
Yeah, we're kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. Yeah, and right now Harvick is leading Stenhouse, Menard, Truex, and Buescher, but they're all in a line at this point, and you just know that, this is that point.
I'm waiting for the eventual move.
I'm going with Buescher right now because the front four that might not make it.
This is the point where somebody makes the move and 3 more follow them, and then, doo-doo occurs on the last lap. So we'll have to see what happens here. But just to go through 6th through 10th, it's Newman, DiBenedetto, Preece, Wallace, and Johnson, who is back up in the top 10 after that earlier incident. William Byron, who was my pick to sweep the weekend, is currently sitting in 16th, the last car on the league lap.
You think he might be smart in just playing it safe?
Well, you kind of wonder, but there's 4 to go, so unless he's channeling his inner Dale Earnhardt, he probably better get going.
You look at the drivers who are 1 lap down with Kyle Busch. I will watch him in pit road. I'd get a camera on him to see if he goes down and talks to Jimmy Johnson after this duel is done.
It'll be interesting. Hemrick 17th, a lap down. Busch 18th, a lap down. And your pick, Matt Tifft, is 19th, a lap down. So you took a flyer, and it didn't quite work out. But that happens sometimes. Of course, the race isn't over yet. It is possible that the front 17 or 18 all get caught up in a wad, but we hope that doesn't happen. 3 to go right now, and we see that we've got a few of them starting to make some moves in the middle of the pack. We're going to come back. When we come around the other side of the turn, we're actually going to hear from Myatt Snider from NASCAR Media Day, and we're going to continue to talk Daytona as, of course, we have the weekend that we all look forward to every year, and Speed Week's going on as well, with a lot of short track action in Florida in all types of different divisions. So basically, if you're a racing fan and you can't find something in the general Florida area to go pay attention to and have fun this weekend, you're not much of a fan. Back with more of Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness after this.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this could be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ben Rhodes, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
I could listen to Jim Croce all day long. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, presented by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life, and HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. The first of the two duels now complete. Spoiler alert. Obviously, if you're listening to this or watching it after Thursday night, then you already know probably what happened, but Kevin Harvick getting the win, and we believe that Parker Kligerman out of this first duel was the go or go homer that will advance to start Sunday's Daytona 500, Lenny, because he finished in 12th, a few spots ahead of Ryan Truex in the 71. So we believe that that puts Kligerman in, knocks Truex out, and then in Duel 2, coming up here in a moment. Now, wait a minute. Tyler Reddick also in this, I think.
No, Tyler Reddick was in the last one.
Well, I'm saying, but I think Reddick was also a go or go homer, so we better double check that to see where Tyler finished before we call that for sure. We'll look at that. But we in the next race, we have Joey Gase, Brandon Gaughan, and Casey Mears.
Mm-hmm.
So now two of those guys, I thought, one of those guys I thought was
There's a couple that are locked in.
And we'll double check all that and
a whole lot of
get back with you here before the end of the show. But yeah, so second duel going to get ready to come up, and that should be a lot of fun. Well, let's get to our next piece of audio first here, because we do have another interview from NASCAR Media Day, which was on Wednesday of this week, that our Jacob Seelman did. He's down in Daytona, and he caught up with another member of the Truck Series group for this year, part-timer for Thorsport Racing, Myatt Snider. Let's hear from him.
So at this point, I'm sure Myatt Snider's just glad to be at Daytona with a truck to drive. It's been an interesting off-season, I feel like, but I think the coolest part for you is, as you talked about the other night after Thorsport confirmed that you have some races this year. In addition to the truck, you get to do a lot of cool stuff this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have a great schedule. We're looking at a pretty good schedule for the trucks-wise, but we haven't finalized it yet. But I like what the races that we're looking at right now, and we're just going to run as much as we can. Obviously, you know, we're trying to get a lot of road course stuff in. We're trying to do a lot more late model races, maybe some ARCA stuff. So we'll see how that's all pan out down the road. But yeah, I mean, even if I'm not racing full-time trucks this year, I'm still going to be in the seat quite a bit and enjoying life.
I was going to say, it almost sounds like you're going to be, even if it's not trucks, racing more this year than you were last year.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I'll be trying to do that. You know, we still got to work out some of the details, but you know, we'll be in a race car quite often this year.
So where'd the sports car thing come from? Was that in kind of in association with Ford that started to get put together? Because I wouldn't have pegged you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I actually love road course racing. That was my kind of first love in racing. I loved Formula One when I was growing up, and my dad kind of told me when I was 13, well, you kind of need to be in a factory go-kart ride by now, so F1 dream may not pan out. So I'm like, okay. And so oval racing it was. But yeah, no, I got to go and kind of see how the whole IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge works at Daytona this year, and it looked like a lot of fun. So it's pretty simple racing. They're just factory cars. So I really enjoy that, and kind of gives it like a grassroots feel, and I think I'll enjoy it quite a bit.
For you, does having a part-time truck schedule this year, last year you were chasing points and chasing Rookie of the Year, do you get to focus more in on individual races now and just really kind of maybe take more risks going for wins this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year it's going to really allow me to work on my racecraft and just be able to focus on some of the things that I need to improve. So, for instance, I definitely think I could have improved at the road course races, some of the short tracks, a couple of the mile and a halves. So we're definitely going to try and emphasize some of that, but also still stick with some of the races that we know that we're good at. Like maybe we'll go to Texas down the road, and so we'll see. It's all coming together.
If I know you're not giving up on the late model this year, and that'll be involved somewhere too. Are there any particular races on that front that you're honing in on?
Yeah, of course. I definitely think I definitely like the race that the Cars Tour introduced, the Old North State Nationals. That looks like it'll be a lot of fun. I'll probably draw a lot of cars.
Big money.
Yeah, and big money, and I'll maybe do some of the other big ones too, like possibly Martinsville, Myrtle Beach. So working all those out, and should be a good time.
Focus, wins. I know as race car drivers, you go out and you try to chase trophies. I feel like for you that maybe takes a little extra precedence this year, trying to make sure you keep your name in the forefront of everybody's mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like we got close to a couple truck wins last year. It just needed a bit of extra luck. So I think honestly, with some of the places that we're going to, we got a chance to win at all of them.
And, you listen to Myatt Snider there. Of course, the road racing opportunity is significant for him, but a part-time schedule in the truck series as well. And we talked about this earlier in the show, Lenny. I think this is a good situation for Myatt to diversify himself a little bit in 2019 to see where his career takes him in 2020.
Yeah, he's got all the personality you would want. He's got really the talent. Let's see where he goes. And, he may surprise himself if he gets into, the sports car ride. He may end up liking that more than anything.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see where that goes. And as we kind of come back to the duels, we had some contact early in Duel 1 between Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch, which sent Kyle Busch spinning. And I've got some quotes here from Kyle about this. Radio.
Now, can you say all the words?
Well,
do I need to beep?
No, you don't need to beep. I think we can do it this way. And again, and this is from a NASCAR staff report here. Kyle Busch went for a spin in his number 18 Toyota early in the first Gander RV duel race, following what appeared to be contact with the number 48 Chevrolet of Jimmy Johnson. The 7-time Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion offered an apology over the radio, one that Busch did not accept. And I quote, "I don't want to beep hear it." Busch radioed to his team when told of Johnson's apology. "Use his damn eyeballs. It's twice he's done the same thing in 2 beep races." So the quote that set off Busch's reply: "Apologize to the 18, Johnson said. I assume that's on me. You are correct, sir." Got to see the video first. I don't know what happened. We saw the video, and it was the same thing that happened in the clash, except that this time he wasn't pulling out from behind Busch. He was pulling up alongside him, but drifted clearly up the track. And so, given the new sponsorship Jimmy has, it's pretty fair to say that he's not making too many allies so far at Daytona this season. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. It's just there, so you take your shot. Definitely not a good couple of races for the 7-time champion so far. He ended up, I think, back in the top 10.
Yeah. Busch finished 18th.
Yeah, so not too sure that Kyle's going to be very happy after that race. But, of course, by the time a lot of you hear this, they probably will have both talked about it and decided, like last week, they're moving on, with my air quotes. So we'll see. Hopefully Jimmy has a better race on Sunday. So duel number 2, getting ready to come to the track as we continue through this show. And want to talk about Xfinity for a little bit because we haven't really had much time with that particular series. And we've got just a couple minutes in this segment, but I want to make sure we get some time because a lot of, again, new faces, new places, Noah Gragson coming in, Zane Smith, and several others, including Chase Elliott in what now is the 8 car, formerly the 1 car for Junior Motorsports. A lot of different drivers in this series. Lenny, who do you look for? Who should we be watching on Saturday in terms of the newer guys? I mean, we obviously know Chase Elliott and Keselowski are in it, and they're going to be tough to beat. But who do you think of the new guys as the best chance?
I want to see
quickly
what Gragson does. He's the one that's really interesting to me. Zane Smith coming in, it's going to be a little while before he gets acclimated.
Well, Chase will be driving that car this week.
But I think Gragson has the potential to really do well, or to maybe, this be the level that, he stops at. He's got to show this.
Quick thought, Chris, on that?
Yeah, I think.
Besides the big two.
I think another driver I'm looking out for, again, in another limited schedule, Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, that's right. Jeffrey Earnhardt getting a shot. That's exactly correct in the Toyota number 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, he's on kind of that Priest situation from a couple of years ago where he's in a really good car and could show it.
Yeah, going to be very, very interesting to see what he can do with that. I mean, you're not going to get better equipment.
No.
To to make it through and try to win some races and prove that you can. I think Jeffrey's at a point in his career where this is his shot. And if this does not work out for him, if he doesn't show that he can run up front here, you got to wonder where it goes from here. But I do think Jeffrey, I know the time that he drove the 5 car for Junior Motorsports, he was pretty competitive. I don't think the result really showed the performance that he had that day. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with this opportunity with Joe Gibbs Racing. We will be back. We've got one more long segment here on Motorsports Madness. We'll talk about the Daytona 500 on Sunday and offer up some picks. We're going to do all that right around the turn. You're listening to Race Chaser Radio's Motorsports Madness.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this could be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally. Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now.
Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
All right, welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life, and HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety. Before we get to our Cup Series picks and do some other things NASCAR-wise, I want to talk a little bit about NHRA and introduce Strutmasters back into the program. Strutmasters, of course, the suspension leaders, and we encourage you all to check out their website at strutmasters.com. You can improve your ride and make it much, much more friendly, as they say, with new suspension, new struts, whatever it is that you need. Strutmasters.com is the place to go, and we want to thank them for coming on board for the NHRA segment. And as we look at last weekend, Lenny, and the NHRA series, of course, the opening show at Pomona for the season.
Doug.
Yeah, you look at Doug Coletta. I mean, that just unbelievable that he knocked Steve Torrence out in the final, and that's the first time that Steve's lost, gosh, I don't even remember, something like 23 or 25 straight passes for Torrance to end last season and start this season. What a run he's had, but how about Doug Coletta getting it done?
Yeah, that was awesome. And the whole Coletta crew is, they run on all 8 cylinders most of the time there. And,
all 16, I think, right? In those things, 16 cylinders.
It feels like 116.
Something like that. Yeah, but Doug Coletta certainly top dog in Top Fuel last week. And Robert Height getting the win in Funny Car, which I thought was apropos as well.
Yeah, a lot of things going on over there in the Force camp.
Yes.
With Courtney abruptly saying time to move on.
Yep.
And such. But really the biggest news out of the Force camp is Austin Prock.
Yeah, Austin Prock getting his shot. Yeah, the Prock Rocket getting his shot. And I think he's going to make a big splash this year.
Yeah. He was a quality USAC midget racer.
Yeah. And
now switching over, you got Coletta, a former USAC champion. How about that pipeline that nobody sees?
Exactly.
And going back to, the Force family, after seeing some of the scares that they had the past season, seeing how John Force comes back from that and rebounds from that. It's like we talked about early in the week, Tom. You're going to have to drag John Force out of the car kicking and screaming before he retires.
Yeah, and I mean, it will be a sad day for not just the NHRA, but the whole sport of motorsports when John Force retires. We hope that they give him a microphone and let him talk on the NHRA broadcast because, boy, what an amazing personality he is. Bo Butner getting the win in Pro Stock. I don't think that's a huge surprise.
He's still part of the KB. He's a KB cousin, right?
Yeah.
So he's Mooresville driveway guy.
Jason Lime. Yeah, that's they're back on top now. Of course, you talk about Austin Prock coming from Circle Track Racing. Tanner Gray was the top dog in Pro Stock, moving from NHRA to Circle Track Racing and ran in the K&M Pro Series race last weekend at New Smyrna. Going to be running for DGR Crosley this year, getting his feet wet in several series. So those were the big 3 winners. Sean Coey, the winner in Top Alcohol Dragster. Brian Huff in Top Alcohol Funny Car. Scott McClay in Competition Eliminator. Ryan McClanahan in Super Stock. Doug Gibson Stock Eliminator. Kevin Wright in Super Comp. Pete Zach in Super Gas. Bart Smith in Top Sportsman. John Taylor Jr. Top Dragsters winner. And Doug Vansel winning Top Fuel Harley. And, of course, the next event on the schedule is coming up in just a week at over in Chandler, Arizona at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. The Magic Dry Organic Absorbent NHRA Arizona Nationals. Say that one 3 times fast. They needed about 3 more words than that one, I think. But look forward to that. And
enjoyed hearing Brian Loams on the broadcast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Great guy. And not that Reef was bad. Loams just oozes NHRA. And, what a great job.
Yeah, Reef turned up in the ARCA broadcast.
Yeah, he did. That was cool, too.
So we didn't get to not hear Reef last week. We just got to hear him in a different setting. So with that, we go back and switch back to NASCAR, to Daytona, second duel, getting ready to get underway in real time as we air this show live. Good to see Chuck Parker and Langley Austin and Tyler Dayton all in our chat with
Langley
us.
Austin and Race 22 got a Monday deal going.
Race 22, yes.
See Langley's pitching in for you. Good deal they've got going on Mondays.
Of course, we want you all to watch us live and then listen to them later.
You got to give them props for putting that thing back together.
We love Race 22 and glad to see that that's going on again. And good to see Tyler Dayton in the chat as well, former racer himself, truck champion at Hickory Motor Speedway here in North Carolina. So as we get ready for the second duel, we got Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Clint Boyer, Austin Dillon, and Denny Hamlin, your top six. I'm going to start with Chris Murdock. You picking from the top six, or are you going to go deep and pick somebody like maybe Ty Dillon or Corey LaJoie?
I don't think I'm going to go quite that. I think it's so hard. I'm just going to go Boyer.
Clint Boyer from fourth starting spot for Stewart Haas Racing. Lenny.
I'll go Chase Elliott on this one. It's time for him to, really establish up to the front. Elliott's like super speedways. Let's get it done.
Mr. Randy, you got a pick for the second duel?
Yeah, on Monday's show I picked Eric Jones, but I'm going to switch my pick and pick his teammate Denny Hamlin instead.
Okay. You're allowed to do that. You got it in before it started. That's all that matters. Well, for me, I'm feeling like we saw Kevin Harvick's Ford win the first duel. I'm sort of feeling like maybe Ford is the way to go here. So I'm going to stick with the guy that I picked in the Clash who didn't do so well, but Joey Logano. Starting from the third spot, takes the win for Team Penske in this one. And again, a couple of stories. Kurt Busch in his debut racing, debut in the duel anyway for Chip Ganassi Racing. He was in last week's event
debut for racing on a Thursday.
Yeah, on a Thursday. And I think one of the other neat stories here, it's always good to see Brendan Gaughan. And he's mostly retired, but every once in a while he shows back up. He's starting 15th. He's a go or go homer. The ones to watch in this one, Joey Gase, Brendan Gaughan, and Casey Mears. They are the three go or go homers for this one, and be interesting to watch how this one turns out. I think Kligerman did make it in from the last event, if I'm not mistaken.
You would be correct.
Yeah, so Parker Kligerman getting into the Daytona 500. Some guys in this, Corey LaJoie has been a story all week at Daytona because, there's nothing like putting yourself on the hood. He put his face on the hood, so I suppose if Corey were to win, technically he's taking his face to victory lane, which is always fun. Corey's running for Go Fast Racing this weekend. Should be an interesting time in this year in the 32, taking over for DiBenedetto, who moved over to the 95. But some real stories in the Cup Series this year, and with the package that's coming up forward from Daytona, I think a lot of things could change. But we're looking at, for Daytona, for the 500, this is the same package we've run, the last good bit on the plate tracks. So let's talk about the 500 for a moment. Have you got a pick for the Daytona 500, Lenny Batycki?
Well, I didn't until I just saw his move that he made in that last lap on the first duel, and what he did last year and his affinity for the track. Bubba Wallace.
Ooh.
I'm going
You're
Bubba.
going Bubba. Bubba Wallace
I also
and the
have
Petty Motorsports 43.
Freddie Kraft is on the show this week on PRN's At The Track talking about spotting. So for Bubba, so I got to stay with my homie there.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, Bubba certainly knows what he's doing at Daytona. Randy, I'm going to put you on the spot next to get a pick for Sunday's Daytona 500. What have you got over there?
I will say on Monday's show, I picked him as my sleeper pick, but after his performance in the first duel, I'm picking Matt DiBenedetto to win.
2 upset specials. Are you going to continue the trend, Chris Murdock?
You know, I've been super impressed with what he's done so far at Daytona. And what he did in that last duel kind of sends it home for me. I'm picking Paul Menard.
Paul Menard to win the Daytona 500 for the Wood Brothers. So we've got one of you who picked the Petty car, 43, to go to victory lane. Another of you picking the 21 to go to victory lane. So, you know, that would be some old glory times if either of those picks come through. I got to tell you, for me, the 500's always a flyer. I mean, I will forever brag about the fact I picked Trevor Bayne in 2011, but I will also add the caveat that he's the last pick I got right. And so, you know, it really is one of those things where you never quite know where to go. And the thing for me with the 500 is the Fords always race well, but I feel like this year Chevy has got their act together, and I'm not sure. The hard part is you see these guys now, and they get 4 in a line, and the teams all try to control the race and control their own destiny, so you never really know where to go with a pick. You guys are all picking upsets, and you know what? Just to continue that trend, I don't know if... Well, I guess we can debate whether it's an upset. I think it would be just because of the driver. I'm sticking with William Byron to win the 500 and get Chad Knaus another 500 win.
Oh, that'd be tremendous.
I mean, I feel like Hendrick Motorsports is on it right now, and we're seeing some of the Chevrolets be strong.
How about a Charlotte-born and bred kid winning it again?
Yeah.
How long has it been since a North Carolina driver? That would be pretty cool.
It would be.
And I think for William, and the pairing with Chad Knaus, it shows that it's already paying off for him. You can already tell his demeanor at the track with Chad is different. He's more aggressive on the track. And I think this could be a whole new William Byron that we see this year.
Well, you know, we're starting off at a track where it's a plate track. I mean, it's sort of a comfortable situation for him, I feel like, right now. I think where we could see William really start to shine is at Atlanta when we go to this package, because he had some experience in the Xfinity Series with it. You know, this could be an interesting situation for him.
And I think, you know, having a 7-time champion in your back pocket, in William Byron's case, in Chad Knaus, doesn't hurt your confidence a whole lot now, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't. And Williams, he's over the rookie thing.
Right.
You know, I mean, it took him a while last year, I think, to figure out what his name was of the car. You know, it's a big adjustment up to Cup. He's had his season of adjustment. He's ready to come out now, and I think Chad's got him primed and pumped, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think all of the Hendrick cars are going to be strong. I think Bowman's another one to keep your eye on Sunday, as well as Elliott.
And you think of the influence that Gordon has had on Byron, and now Knaus is coming in and giving his influence on Byron. Byron's shaping up. I think at some point this season that wick's going to light and he's going to go, just like Chase Elliott did last year.
Yeah, I think William wins a race and gets himself into the playoffs this year.
They're probably the only 3 cars that are safe from Jimmy Johnson.
That's quote of the show.
I hope Jimmy has a better day on Sunday. That's all I want to say about that. And with that, we look to dial up as we get toward the end of the show here, we start thinking about, you know, what comes after Daytona, and, you know, wish we had more time to talk about that, but we really don't have a lot. We're going to close this one right around the turn. We'll be back with more of Motorsports Madness, presented by mycomputercareer.edu and HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, right after these words.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Motorsports Madness, presented by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life, and HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety, and of course our newest sponsor, Strutmasters.com, the suspension leaders. And we thank all of them for being a part of this show. We are going to get this thing wrapped up and throw the checkered flag on it before the second of the Gander RV duels at Daytona even gets the green flag here. But if you're listening to us after Thursday night or over the weekend, we certainly hope that you're enjoying all of the action from Daytona International Speedway, and we're excited about what's to come. So we're going to get to watch the next dual race. And Lenny Batycki, thanks for stopping back in and filling the big shoes of Jacob Seelman while he's down at Daytona.
Jacob's doing a great job down there, and I would, as many times as I would say it, PRN's At The Track on Twitter. Please give us a follow and listen to the show this week, because Freddie Kraft really gives some good anecdotal spotter insight. And his driver's going to win the race anyway, so you'll want to hear him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that comes off. And, of course, Chris Murdock with us as well, stepping out from the tech shed to come over here and be on camera and on microphone to host. We're looking forward to having Chris around a lot more as we go forward here. Excited about that. And Randy Miller over on the tech shed side as well, capably producing the show, and really excited to see what comes of our show as we go forward. Some great guests coming up over the next few weeks, so we look forward to all of that. So for our sponsors, mycomputercareer.edu, HMS Motorsports, and Strutmasters.com. For Randy and Chris and Lenny and Jacob, who is in Daytona, my name is Tom Baker. Thank you so much for listening or watching Motorsports Madness, a Race Chaser Radio production. We look forward to being back in 1 week's time with our next program to discuss everything that happened at Daytona over the past weekend. So with all that, we say have a great weekend, enjoy some racing, and hey, we're all going to Atlanta next week. So if you're there, we might just see you at the racetrack. Until then, keep it off the wall. Good night.
You've been listening to Motorsports Madness with the Race Chaser Online crew. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. Motorsports Madness is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network, www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast.